everybody? Welcome. I always love it's like so abrupt on my end when that pops off. So I'm just always like looking stupid when I come live. It's never like seamless. I need like a countdown or something because I'm always like, oh, hey. So welcome. Welcome to the live show. So today I'm gonna go ahead and bring my very, very special guest on. Um, this gentleman speaks English incorrectly, but we'll give him a break here tonight. But let me just go ahead and bring him on. His name is Rob from Malkier Talks.
I speak English incorrectly. That
Yes.
is one way to describe it. Yes.
I will translate for any of you that do not understand what he's saying. Just let me know.
That is amazing. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
People have trouble understanding me, so that's a service I need. So I've clearly come to the right place.
I really can't make that joke because you're not Scottish or anything. I have to tell a story. When I got picked up at the airport when I was in London, like the driver was Scottish. I could not understand. I feel so bad. I could understand a damn thing he was saying. I was just like, it was like he was speaking Chinese to me or something. And I'm just looking at him and I'm like, yes, whatever. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it. I worked with a Scottish chef, and he was bad enough in the kitchen anyway. You couldn't understand him if he wasn't talking to you. But he would go home to Scotland for a week and come back, and I'm like, we've worked together for a year, and I don't even know if you're speaking English anymore. Like, are you speaking Gaelic or something? They don't speak. That's not a Scottish language. But yeah, I was like, did you switch languages and not tell me? And
is this a forgotten language that's been?
It's it can be very thick. It's scary. I love Beth in chat. She just put Rob doing more difficult to understand UK accent. I cannot. All I can do is terrible cliche lines
Cockney
and stuff.
Could you do like Cockney stuff or like?
A little bit. I'm from Essex, so there's like have you seen The Only Way Is Essex or heard of it at least? It's like
I know version
of. Yeah, it's like one of the British versions of Jersey Shore. There's two of them. And I can do that for about half a sentence. But I end up laughing or getting too embarrassed about it because it's just like, oh my God, this is terrible.
I learned my British accent from Dick Van Dyke and Mary Poppins. So it's very authentic, right?
Mm-hmm. That is very authentic.
When I was in London, that was my experience. Everybody I met talked like that. So they also cleaned chimneys and danced around on the roofs at night. So
they do. It's tough
really
to sleep
weird
in London like that. So I lived in London for a few years. It's tough to get some sleep if your neighbor has a chimney that needs cleaning regularly, because they're always they're tap dancing around, and it's like, dude, it's 3 a.m. I need to sleep. Come on.
Well, before we go too far into this, tell the people who the hell you are, if they don't already know. Like, who the hell are you and why are you here?
So I'm Rob. I'm Malkier Talks. I feel like I do everything sometimes.
You do.
And there are days where I feel like I do nothing. But yeah, I have a YouTube channel where I do a weekly live show Thursday nights. Threefold Talk. I'm joined by a selection of IEO ladies, and it's we have a lot of fun. We rank stabs in the Wheel of Time. We play games. There's a huge amount of chat interaction. There's a lot of polling, and it's a great fun, a really, really fun show. But it's all IEO themed. So we have Meluendos and we stab rankings, and I can't describe it too much because it gives all the secrets away.
Hold on. Okay, so who do you do this with? It's Bane and Chiad, right?
So we have Bane and Chiad. We have Melindra.
Okay, so you're doing it with a dark friend, and well, I have to ask this too because it's very IEL. If it's very, very IEL themed, are they like sister wives and you're like the clan chief here?
So the way it works is, we have a wise one, a couple of maidens. We have a roof mistress. Tigraine's in there as well. So there's Tigraine, Wise One, Shelley, there's Roof Mistress Leia, there's Bane and Chiad, and there's Melindra, and myself. I am the token wetlander. So they allow me to visit the Threefold Land once a week. And, sometimes we have a cross of culture where I'm like, this is a great joke. It's hilarious. And they're like, where's the rooster? And then sometimes, we align on our topics because, we talk about something that we can both appreciate, usually stabbing of some form. But Mel's in there. We call her Meluendo because there's always a few Meluendos in play. And it is a lot of fun. Butt rock is something that we talk about a lot as well. You have to come and check that out.
I'm gonna have to do it. I'll have to come on. Come and
Yeah,
check it
as
out.
Beth is saying in chat, butt rock forever. It's a thing.
Well,
So
and Banian Chiad is actually going to be one of our staff writers for thegreatblight.com. So
she's amazing.
She writes articles.
She writes more than articles. So
she does, yes.
We have sponsorship adverts, words from our sponsor. We like to do.
Never heard of anything like that.
Never. And she comes. She writes up some absolutely hilarious ones. I mean, Wiseman Shelley's written one for us. Roof Mistress Leia's written one. They are hilarious. They're so much fun, and we play them. We have Shoofy, it's a scent for your shoofer. We have Lamel's Bistro. We have Stabby IT Services. I'm missing some. We even had a Couladin political ad. Yes, so we have a lot of fun with that. So there's a little bit of just comedic value in there for us to have some fun.
We will probably have to play some IEL themed ads that I've got as well that people tend to like as favorites. So
perfect.
Now there's one other major thing that you do that you did not mention. And I'm just gonna play something here and then we'll come back and chat about it. How about that?
Sounds good to me.
All right. I don't know what that was about, but
I don't know. Like that was an interesting advert. So
no, you know what's funny about it is I realized because I'm playing this, I'm like all of the people in Europe are like it's like 3 a.m. so they're all sleeping right now. But
they are, yeah.
On the chance case that any of them are awake, you should go to Malkiericon, right?
Please, yes. It's going to be so much fun. September 10th to the 11th. It's Saturday and Sunday all day. And here in Manchester at the Holiday Inn, there's details on my brand new Sparkly website, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
What you mean this website right here?
Yes, that website. I have a brand new Sparkly website. It's been tested. I think it's ready. It's up. It's live anyway. So if you spot a mistake, please let me know. But
it's a website.
It's a website.
It's a website.
Yeah. It's going to have a bubble of evil somewhere in it, I'm sure. So
I'm sure they all do. But no, that's very, very exciting. Because that's another new con.
It is.
So now the Europeans don't have to fly to the US to hang out with Wheel of Time people.
Now they just have to come to the UK, and I'm sure there'll be a few out there be like, ugh.
Which I am told again from my comments, you and I looked at this, that apparently Europeans do not want to come there now because of Brexit.
Yeah, because of Brexit.
Just too much now. So.
I didn't have time to scope a place in Europe, if you want to get technical, nor do I have the financial position to do that, even if I had the time. But we did joke about doing, 23 in Prague. But, that depends. 22 needs to be a huge success for me to be able to take in Prague next year. But, it's a maybe.
I was thinking about this. Like, this is Europe. Like, it's hard for me to wrap my head. I know it's the opposite way. When people come to the US from Europe, they can't wrap their head around, like, how big it is. But the opposite is true. Like, I'm thinking in my head, like, for me to fly to Florida is essentially like you hopping on a plane and going to Sicily.
Yeah. That's a very good analogy. Aside from the
And
very, very different cultures, that's a
right, like,
perfect analogy. Yeah, there's a
and it's
perfect
just
analogy though.
well, okay,
Distance-wise,
let's be
yeah.
real here. There's a very, very different culture from where I live to going to Florida.
Yes, yeah, this is
So
true. Yes,
you've heard Florida Man, right?
I have heard Florida
Okay.
Man. Yeah,
It's very real.
I think I googled my date of birth, like what happened to Florida Man on my date of birth or something, and it was I can't remember, but it was scary. I was like, oh
So
my gosh, I
it's
wish
always
I'd never
something.
done that.
Well, I'll tell you what, one thing that was very, very cool. Rob and I got a chance to meet actually twice last year. So we've got to meet twice. Let me first of all, the first time I got to meet Rob in person was here.
It was,
So
yes.
this was at the Crown and Anchor Bar. That is me, Critter, Rob, and then Elliot, and oh my gosh, Wheel of Time Theory. What Richard?
Richard, yes.
Yes. Why was I blanking on his first
I
name?
had James stuck in my head. And I'm like, no, that's not James.
I almost said the same thing. That's why I was like, his name is not James.
I want to correct you though. This is not a bar. This is a pub.
It's a pub. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there is a difference.
We were at the Crown and Anchor pub, which was an interesting experience. I'll say that was my first English pub I'd ever been to. I had to walk like a mile from our hotel. But it was fun, and I passed the Chipotle on the way there, which was even crazier. But that was a fun night.
It was.
And not in this picture, although they were there, was Jason Denzel from Dragon Mount. I think he had just left when we took that. So
I think so.
But yeah, we got to hang out, and you came all the way down from Manchester just to hang out with us.
I did. I hustled down on the Sunday. I left work. I snuck out of work slightly early to get an earlier train, actually. And then there were train delays and delays getting across the city. And then I went to the wrong hotel, and so much chaos. It was, but I eventually got there. The innkeeper's salty. I love that. I was going to say the innkeeper was there too, but
he has absolutely no business being salty about not being in pictures. This man strolls around London, which, by the way, is a massive city.
Yeah.
He just happens to run into two of the stars of the Wheel of Time just walking around the city. Oh, look, there's Yosha. Hey, Yosha. Oh, yeah. Hey, Marcus, let's take a picture. You just happen to be on the road next to me. Who does that happen to other than him?
I don't know. And they recognized him, you know.
They did. They're like, you.
Like, if I saw them on the street, I'd be like, oh, Yosha. And he'd be like, whoa, dude, back off. You know, like stalker alert or something stupid, you know, like, yeah, don't be salty, innkeeper. People, you're famous. So.
I'll tell you what, traveling though with the innkeeper and Taylor was a lot of fun. I mean, they're a handful. You guys, like, he puts on this image of being this real nice, clean cut guy. Oh my God. He got into some pub brawls. Like, it was crazy. I've never seen such horrible things done to people. Taylor couldn't keep him in line.
Yeah. And then he went out clubbing afterwards.
That's
why he wasn't in the picture.
None of that is true, by the way.
No, he left and went and live streamed from the hotel.
Yeah, I was pretty much. So no, that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun on that trip. And then I got to see you later because you were at the premiere that we were at as well.
Yes. Yeah.
So you were sitting like right up to the left of us.
I was, yeah.
Which was really nuts because you're sitting there and, like, regardless of your feelings about the first two episodes, like, there was like an adrenaline rush because we're sitting there watching everybody walk in on the red carpet.
Yep.
Then we're in basically like it's an IMAX movie theater, but it's like, oh, right over there is Rosamund Pike sitting in the movie theater with me. Like,
yeah.
And it was, now our seats were so close, or at least ours were, where it was like this because the screen was like 100 feet tall.
I think our row was like 2 or 3 rows slightly further back. So it wasn't quite like right like that, but it was almost that. Yeah, they were all at the back, all the stars.
Well,
they got put in, didn't they? So
the whole Trolloc battle, like it was just like a massive, like I couldn't tell what was going on, but yeah. So we got to meet after that. You were out taking pictures, and I mean, what was really cool is just hanging around in the movie theater afterwards, just casually chatting. I have a story to tell if Matt is still in here. So me being a total jerk, our handlers, if you will, that were we were supposed to go to this after party, and everybody was like, where is Matt Hatch? Where is Matt Hatch? Because we were all waiting by the bus. So I was like, oh, I volunteered. I'm like, I'll go get him. I run back in, run upstairs because he was still up there, and he's sitting around chatting to some people, and I didn't pay any attention to who they were. And I'm like, hey, Matt, let's go. It's time to go now. They're waiting. Little did I know it was like the Coffin family he was chatting with, like Christopher Scareth, and
Juliet.
I felt like an ass because I was just like interrupting the whole thing. He'll probably tell you enough time.
He's just put in chat there was not enough time in the lobby. That is so true. That is so true.
Matt, if you want to hop on to this chat, pop in, send me a message in Discord, and I'll send you the invite. We'd love to have you on to chat about this. But yeah, so that was a lot of fun. But I did get to meet you twice. Now you are going to be. Are you coming to JordanCon or WhatCon or
any of the above? I've had a JordanCon ticket for 2 years now. COVID has stopped me going 2 years in a row, but it will not stop me this year. I will be there if I have to get a dinghy and sail across by myself. Of course, if I do need to do that, I probably should leave now to make sure I get there on time.
I was going to say, and you know, we'll figure out how to get you here safe. But that's exciting because we're gonna get to hang out and see each other again. And
indeed, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm doing one of my shows from JordanCon.
That's awesome.
The ladies and I said we would do a live threefold talk from the lobby. Probably have to liaise with the innkeeper to make sure we're not streaming at the same time.
Are you bringing spears?
We are bringing, in a manner of speaking, we are bringing spears. We have a couple of, we have a couple of things in the works regarding spears, and we are definitely like bringing some merchandisey style items. But there's some special things for there as well. So there will be spears of a type. I don't want to give the game away, so yeah, that's it.
Well, real quick. So, what was I going to say? I am going to post a poll now. So, real quick, and then we'll kind of hop into some other chat. We've just been kind of talking about nothing right now.
Yeah, they're saying that you should lend me one of your yachts so that I can sail across.
Look, I try to get a yacht in every country.
You don't have one here yet?
Yeah, I don't have one there yet.
Right. Well, when Amazon finally starts shilling me as well, then I will get a yacht and we can do like a yacht exchange program at some point.
Pretty much, right?
Yeah. They're just slow on the pickup. They haven't got it yet. So,
well, I'm going to go ahead and post a poll here. I did in my last video, I posted the contest because I do a contest in every news video. And this one was about what I should call this live show because I've been doing this for a while and I just call it the live show, which is a really bad name. So basically I threw out a bunch of names and we're not done collecting entries. So there may be other entries here, but I took the top 4 that I've seen so far and I'm curious what you guys think. So hopefully I did a poll right.
Well, they're asking for multiple choice with yes, no answers. That's how the
well, that would be an innkeeper poll.
I always try to do one innkeeper poll per threefold talk, just to honor the innkeeper because of that.
Did I do it right, or did it just go away?
I don't know.
Yes,
it's worked. Okay, there we go. Yes, it is there.
All right. Now, while that is happening, we get a wig. Now we got a $10. Thank you, Beth. First of all, let me throw this up for all the new ones. One moment here. So I got to find the because I made this fancy graphic.
Ooh.
So for the 5 to 10, you get the old Boris Johnson wig, which he's doing really well right now in London, right?
Oh, fabulous! Yeah, he's onto a winner. Yeah, it's there. Look at that. Well, I can say something quick before he can't hear me. Oh, there we go. Too late. You can hear me now.
Do I look like? I look like, again, it's a cross between Boris Johnson and Karen.
You look like a Boris Johnson at the end of lockdown when he was like, yes, we can start to open like hairdressers now, like the rest of the country. I know we're all desperate to get a haircut.
I thought he just partied. Well, I don't even know what's going on. I don't pay attention.
He did just party, but he did also not get a haircut. And you look like, that wig looks like how he looked when he needed a haircut. So
I need to throw this is really, I just need to throw this up here real quick because I need to change for a second. One moment.
You're changing.
Well, no. Whoa. Who is
Welcome
that?
back to the Dusty Wheel.
Who is
you're
that
trying to
guy?
take over.
Well, that's what he does when he's on my show. Is he ends up being the host because
Seriously.
inevitably my internet will cut out. It'll just be him.
I do it. I've done it to the Innkeeper, so it's only fair. You'll have to come on my show and then take over my stream instead. So
I do need to do that sometimes.
I mean Nae'Blis, not you, Innkeeper. You take over Nae'Blis. Nae'Blis takes over mine. I take over.
You don't want me. He's the host. He's the host with the most, right? Now,
this is true.
Matt, it has been forever since I've talked to you. So much
it has been forever.
has gone on.
I know.
But
it's been a whole season of the Wheel of Time.
Really though, right?
Yeah. When was the last time I was on? It was like early December or something.
It's got to be at least that long ago. Oh gosh, here we go. Hold on.
I haven't seen any of the new wigs. Have you bought a bunch of new wigs?
Yeah, I have not seen these wigs yet either, to be honest. So I love the way it turns the camera off.
Yeah, the camera.
You gotta have the full surprise, haven't you? So
it's classic.
Weren't you wearing wigs the last time you were on, Matt? If I remember correctly, you were doing the wig thing as well.
Yeah, I don't want to encourage that too much.
Wow,
nice. Wow.
That is a full head of wig right there. That is.
Yeah.
There's some luscious
I'm not
locks
sure
on
if it's really Michael Jackson or if
I'm
it's...
seeing high school Nae'Blis now. I'm seeing.
Yeah, because this is totally my hair color. How is this poll doing? I think I did the poll right. So let me.
You did.
Oh, it is a blowout for Dark Friends Social so far. I'll leave it up for a minute. I need to post a poll that's like, what should the show be called? Yes or no?
Look, when you're making as many polls as I do in a show, one of them inevitably comes in with a generic yes or no. That's just what's going to happen.
Hey, it's all good. So let me pose. I've got you both here.
Okay.
Let me throw this out there to you. Like, obviously, I want to get into talking about some book stuff just because I feel like I haven't gotten the chance to talk about a lot of book stuff, but just general thoughts because I haven't talked to either of you about this. Like, what are your overall thoughts on the season, kind of the direction, all of that? Like, are you overall pretty positive, overall pretty neutral, overall negative? Like, where do you land in that? Let's go
It's
with
Rob.
you.
It's your show, Rob.
It's my okay, right. I was like, who's going first? I'm pretty positive. I don't want a carbon copy of the books.
Mm-hmm.
That would be it would be exciting to see for a bit, and then I'd be like, well, I know exactly everything that's going to happen in every scene going forward, full stop, and that would bore the hell out of me. Whereas I want to be excited watching the show like I was reading the books and being like, what the hell is happening next? And then make wild suggestions and have crazy ideas and make theories out of what they might do or where they might go or how this will affect things. So I'm pretty positive about what they're doing because it feels like Wheel of Time, but it's new stories. And I'm down for that. That's what I'm after. So that's how I'm feeling. I don't know about you, Innkeeper.
I think everything in the middle between the beginning and an end is much easier to execute on, and that's where I'm hoping they get better at. Kicking off a season and ending a season is where I really hope to see them improve, if that makes sense, just from the storytelling devices they use. Sometimes I feel like they're moving extremely fast, kind of showing the punch before they punch, and that's my only concern is like wondering where they're going to, or if they're going to come back to certain themes, if they're going to walk away from them and kind of try to bring us back to like, oh yeah, that's the epiphany Rand had at the first season, and we're at season 8, and now I'm understanding it, and maybe that's the plan. So to me, I really love everything between 1 and 8. As far as like overall story, I think it's like I go back and 2 and 3 and 4. I know people get angsty about 5. I don't really. Like, I think 5 is good, 6 is good, 7's good, and I just feel like the end caps, were just more difficult to do, and probably had more input from executives. The big ending of what this is going to be and how it's going to happen and how it's going to start probably got a bunch of the kind of my guess would be notes and things that Amazon probably wanted. That's what it feels like to me, because it's like, why else would you make some of these choices? And so I'm hoping, because even if you go back to episode 2, like the tone immediately is just so well done with the cold open. Like you can't have the cold opens that you have, in my opinion, all the way through the show and not know that episode 1's cold open is just really weak. Like you can't do the other ones and not feel that, in my opinion. So
I agree.
To me, that sounds and it feels like you just get input from, outside of what maybe Rafe had control over. And I'm hoping to feel less of that maybe next season, So I overall, I think I'm positive towards where things are going. And I can tell that when they get into the meat of the story, they have fun and do some good stuff. So I'm hopeful for, now that we know about the pandemic, that the way they can end a season is going to be, better. In other words, they have kind of the flexibility. They know how to build in an ending that is more satisfactory than one that they had to kind of give us because of a variety of things outside their control. So
yeah, I feel like I fit somewhere between the two of you, because I am optimistic towards the future. I actually think let's say they had nailed episode 8, like everybody liked it, I think that people would be talking overwhelmingly positive about the first season.
Yep.
Because I'll rewind everybody back to right after episode 7. There were even people in my live shows that were anti-show so far that were like, okay, they might have me, right? There were people literally in this chat, if you go back and watch that before that last episode came out, that were saying stuff like that. And I think what this is just not nailing the ending. Now, I'm going to give them a break. I don't think they nailed the ending. I think episode 8 is the weakest episode. I don't think that's a stretch. But I'm also going to finding out some of the stuff that Brandon has talked about, some of the stuff that we just have found out that was behind the scenes going on. Obviously, Barney being gone, but even just not even being able to have extras to film those battle scenes, like how dramatically that changes what you have to do, right? And one of those things might have been bad enough, but the fact that there were multiple things, right? So that's where I'll give them a mulligan, I guess. Now, if we have the same issues after season 2, we might be in trouble, right? But I really do have faith that just knowing some of the people behind the scenes that are looking at this, like if you didn't like something and you thought it wasn't executed well, trust me, I know Matt and I, and actually all three of us can speak to this. You're your own biggest critic half the time. Like if you thought you saw it, they totally did. Right. And so I do give them the benefit of correcting it to a degree. That's kind of where I sit with that. Real quick before we move on, I got to change wigs here.
We're changing the wigs.
That black wig is amazing, by the way.
It is amazing.
Well, you have to see the other new one. Somebody's got to. There's a $20 tip for the other new one.
There we go. I did like your comment about the cold opens, Matt. Even sitting in at the premiere, the cold open for episode 1, I was definitely like, I'm not sure what's going on here. And then obviously I knew what was going on, but it kind of sets a tone for some of the episodes. And if you think about some of the cold opens we got, the ones in the middle were better. I mean, I like the one for episode 8, but the Blood Snow for episode 7 was amazing for multiple reasons. And I feel like the cold opens kind of set the tone for each episode.
Yeah. And
as you say, 1 and 8 weren't the highlight in terms of cold opens. And that's reflected in how people generally feel about episodes 1 and 8.
Yeah. And to Nae'Blis' point, I think if they had landed 8, I would be like, that was a great, you know what I mean? That was for me. And I know it landed, like Rajesh is saying in chat, it did land for some, and on rewatches, I'm not saying that on rewatch things don't get even better for me. It's just like, it's like a U2 album. Like I'm a huge U2 fan, but the first time I listened to one of their albums, it's kind of like, those were good songs. I listened to it like the 10th time and I'm like, this is the greatest album ever. It's just like, it's like that. So it's not that the show doesn't have that aspect to it. I just think that it doesn't need to have that aspect. In other words, I think there were some things that were working against it. For example, I love the intuition of episode 8 of that cold open. I just feel like it told the wrong story. For example, the hall, they should have been in the hall. Like they should have been, You should have seen more frustration. You should have seen more awareness of people in a sci-fi future being at war. And that would have been the exact, like if they had done that for the cold open for 8, I bet you I probably could have forgiven every single, like if they had gone cold open Tigraine and then cold open like people at war and like arguing between the Aes Sedai, for me, that would have been just like the 1-2 punch of way to end this thing. And it just felt kind of like the cold open for 8 for me just fell flat. Like it was an interesting idea. And then I have a particular problem with revealing too much about Luz Theron and Rand's connection early.
Yeah.
And I did not necessarily like this idea that Rand was just kind of immediately like, oh, so that's who I was. And I can see his face and he's arguing with you. And I can see that this is all a real thing. And to me, that kind of changes the story a bit in ways that I can't even kind of conceive of yet. I need to go for a full reread of the whole books now to understand what that change means to Rand's arc and story when it comes to Luz Theron. And so it makes me question exactly what they're going to do with Luz Theron. And I have a feeling they're going to change what we know as Rand's arc when it comes to his relationship with Luz Theron. In fact, if you look at Ishamael, I just realized this today. I don't know why I didn't think about this before. And maybe I did, and I've just forgotten in the last 30 days or whatever it is. I don't think we're going to get Moradin. You're giving us like sane Ishamael, and the only interesting thing about Moradin was you're getting kind of a different look at Ishamael, and they're giving us that look, the Moradin look, if you will, right now. And so you imagine them taking Moradin or Ishamael through the first maybe 3 seasons, and the end of Ishamael comes in season 3, and then we never see him again. That's kind of how I would read why they would give us the not kind of crazy version of Ishamael, because why would you bring this guy back? And you're not going to try to save that actor for 8 seasons. You're not going to anyways. So to me, it's now like a fun journey of like, how do these changes kind of reverberate through the rest of their plot, you know? But yeah, I totally agree with the concept. If you had episode 8 had been a bit stronger for me, then most things would be kind of like, yeah, this is a great first season.
Yeah, I mean, there were things he was trying to call back to with the cold opens, like the ending of cold open on episode 8 calls back to the end of the cold open on episode 7 with the ruins and such. But that could have been done through some kind of battle scene or battle argument in the tower or something. So yeah, it after the excitement of episode 7's cold open, it definitely was lacking. And you kind of it's the season finale. It should be more exciting. I don't know.
My biggest struggle is actually not with the changes, because I will give, I say that. No, I take that back. It's not, there are some changes that have me worried. It's not the change itself. It's sort of what you're saying, Matt, in terms of the long-term effects. The overall theming of some of the writing is the only piece that I'm actually truly worried about, because to me, if you break down seasons 7 and 8 of Game of Thrones and what went wrong, is they started writing to spectacle and big things happening and plot. Like they wrote to the plot they wanted rather than to what was natural for the characters or the story. And that's why it felt bad. Like that's why the writing felt bad, is because all of a sudden Daenerys could teleport across the continent on a dragon, right? Like it just didn't make sense anymore. And it was like, why are they doing this? And Tyrion became stupid and all of this. So what had me worried was little things like the wave and like the whole channeling to wipe out an army of Trollocs. Like those things are made to look really cool on screen. But now the power creep is such that it's like, how do you top what the girls did? Like now, like, do you get what I'm saying? Like now an army of 10,000 Trollocs can be taken care of by people that can link. And it's that's the stuff that has me worried. That's where I'm worried. Okay. What were you going to say, Matt?
No, I feel bad. I was like, I could go on for another 10 minutes about this. So no, Rob, go ahead. I don't know if you were going to add anything.
Real quick.
The barrister.
Go ahead, Rob. You can do this.
In essence, I've basically, I get what you're saying. They've gone too big too soon with a few things. Oh, he's completely gone. Oh, welcome to the Dusty Wheel.
Well, exactly. Welcome back, Rob. How are you doing?
Yeah, what were you going to say? Yeah. Do you think he's dropped out deliberately or accidentally?
Totally.
Hopefully it's deliberate. Oh, there we go. Oh, wow. That is
I can
weird.
yank my braid.
Man, this
It's,
is like, this may be, I feel like you should have, was one of the names of the of your show, live show, going to have to do with Wigs, because
The Wigs of Time.
it was a suggestion, which brings me back. I should end that poll. Here we go. Results on the poll. I don't know if it's going to show up, but
It should show
It
up in the
should,
chat.
yeah.
Yeah.
takes it a second. Up there
I
we
love
go.
this
So,
poll feature.
Dark Friend Social. Nice.
yeah. So yes, I look like I'm one of the people that presides over Parliament. Rob,
Yes.
did I get a good?
This is it's not bad. It's got a bit more volume. It's usually in courts as opposed
It's not
to,
taken care of very well.
yeah. But yeah, if you were in a court of law, you would be one of those people with a lot of volume to the hair. You were definitely doing some backcombing prior to the court case this morning. So
Yeah, I look like Mozart or something. But
yeah, it's a little bit more Mozart than court. But yeah,
sorry, I
love it.
interrupted. What were you going to say, Rob?
I just said I can totally understand you saying they've gone too big too soon on some things.
Yeah.
You know, like the channeling, and
Yeah.
how do you make it bigger? And when you've got, potentially 7 more seasons to go,
Yep.
How do you max out or get to the top? How many wigs are you bringing to WhatCon? I love that chat from Kari.
All of them.
How are you bringing them? You have to.
All of them.
Well,
Well, they're
it
at
is
my house.
interesting. It's
Walkman is here.
I think even if you look at the way Jordan treats the wars, it's not like he's there to he's not trying to give us the spectacle of it anyway in the books. So it wouldn't surprise me if, from a screenwriter perspective, they're like, this isn't going to be a show of wars. You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to be like, there's so many more interesting stories to tell here than Do Might As Well. I know as well.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong. Like, everyone wants to see it, but it's like, in the end, like they're thinking, sure, show it, but that's not the point of the story. And we're going to be telling different. So I can see them saying, even if you look at Nynaeve, like, where's her block? And you look at Rand and Lews Therin, maybe they're just going to take a longer setup for some of these things that we came to just kind of accept. Like, so maybe we're saying, okay, Rand agrees that he's the Dragon Reborn, and now we're going to see the descent into madness, and now it's going to be like, they're setting him up for that descent. And so maybe they still use Lews Therin in that way, and everyone can kind of picture who Lews Therin is now, but now everyone has the idea in their mind, but now he's hearing voices. And so maybe that was the idea. So I'm not saying they're doing it wrong. I'm saying now I wonder how they're doing it. It's like they're definitely doing it different than Jordan did as far as approaching some of these topics. So I'm ready to see kind of where they're going to go. I'm just, obviously, as a book fan, I'm like, I don't know. And it concerns me a little bit.
So in this chat, Daydreamer Tim nails this to me. So Battle of the Bastards in Game of Thrones. When it happens, it should matter. We should care about the outcome. And if they show battle on the screen, they should nail it. My opinion is that I wish that we had not seen any of that last battle if they couldn't do it right. I would rather have seen, like, that's actually what Game of Thrones did in its first 3 seasons, by the way. There were massive battles happening. They didn't show them.
Yeah.
What they showed is the aftermath of the battle. Walking around the battlefield after it's over, talking, because that's what mattered, really. It wasn't so if you're going to show the battle, and if you make that choice, then in my opinion, you have to nail it. And so just like Battle of the Bastards, I do want them to do Might As Wells, because I think it is a turning point moment in the show.
Mm-hmm.
But if they do it, that has to have a chunk of budget to do it right.
Yeah.
Right. And not, I could skip the Battle of Cairhien, for instance. Like, I could see that as an aftermath. Right?
Yeah.
My opinion.
Well, that's what they do with Matt's fight against Couladin, right? Jordan does that.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly what I was saying. Like, you could skip the whole thing, really.
Mm-hmm.
And just have the post bit, or Matt's build up, perhaps like in the story, but skip the rest of the actual battle. Yeah,
isn't that the only scene I want from there? And if they don't give it to me, I'm rioting. Isn't it Matt that walks into the tent and does all of the you should do this and this and this. And
yeah,
this
chatting
with
with
do this, and he walks out, and everyone's just like, "What the hell just happened?" Like, that's all the scene I need for that war. Yep. I just want to see that happen, and the look on everyone's face is like, that's enough for me in that moment. But yeah, I agree with that, what you said, and I think I said this recently on one of my shows, was I wish that they had time to wait until they could have shot the final scenes for episode 8. Like if they were going to do Tarwin's Gap, Rafe kind of talked it up like this is one of his favorite scenes. They were all excited to do Tarwin's Gap, and we really got like not Tarwin's Gap, like not the scene that was clearly that they were hoping for. And I wish Amazon or somebody would have been like, no, we're not going to go this entire way and give everyone that battle for Tarwin's Gap in the end. And it seems like people were just like, nope, we have to launch the show. And maybe they did. Again, I don't know how this stuff works. And so it's like, I get it. Costs and all schedules and everything. But part of me just wishes like they had waited a little bit longer and done Tarwin's Gap justice. Because like you said, I think if you're going to do it, you got to knock that one out of the park. And that's where it felt like it fell flat for me, I guess, at the very end. Well,
that last episode, they got the part that I thought they would get wrong, and they got the part that I wasn't sure that they would get right, in my opinion. Like, there are pieces of the whole Rand and the Shamael confrontation I didn't like, but for the most part, I thought that worked.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I thought that was definitely a very good reimagining of that scene. That isn't Rand cutting cords and skimming without realizing he's doing it and all kinds of weird things that people wouldn't understand. Like, so I liked how they pulled that off, and I thought they would get the battle right. Now, this is where, again, I'm going to give them a mulligan, because had they been able to get extras in the door, if you've, like, Matt, you were tweeting out the concept art of that last battle.
Yep.
And how dramatically different that would have looked with 1,000 troops.
Yep.
As opposed to 20 people with crossbows
in a corridor. Yeah.
Right. Like massive difference. So in any case, I agree with you totally. Hold on one second.
the wigs are just amazing.
Yeah, the wigs are very special.
Well, they're hot. So any other thoughts on the show stuff before we pivot for a moment?
I have one more thought, but yeah, go ahead, Ron.
I was going to say we could talk for ages on the show, but what's your one last thought? I mean, nothing specific to episode 8 that we haven't already really gone through, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was just going to say, Taylor and I keep on telling Taylor that he just got married and he's got and they're moving on with their lives. But I'm like, we need to do a Dusty Wheel cut of season 1. So we are working on a Dusty Wheel cut of season 1, and so he and I have been just talking about what that would look like. If this makes sense, I know that there's another fan edit happening, and I know other fans will do this. We're trying to do what we did with Winter Dragon, which was not belittle it for what it wasn't, but try to pull out what it was. And so our goal would not be to just bookify it, if that makes sense. That's not the idea, but look for places where it might, from a storytelling perspective, where maybe Amazon seems to have forced some things that we might be able to kind of play with some of the storytelling in ways that might be a little bit more compelling. If we didn't have a studio telling us exactly what had to be done, if you will. So that's one thing we hope to have. I don't know how we would show it. It might be in private screenings kind of thing. I don't know, because obviously it'd be really difficult to put out publicly. But yeah, expect to hear about a Dusty Wheel cut of season 1 in some capacity coming soon. So yeah, that's
very cool.
I'm excited for that, because the Dusty Wheel cut of Winter Dragon was outstanding, to the point that even Max Ryan commented about it. Right?
He did. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
I honestly thought when you started that sentence, Taylor, he's married now, he's moving on. I thought you were going to announce so I'm losing my producer.
I was like, Dusty Wheel's over.
He has retired, and well, is that to say that he's the entire Dusty Wheel, or is that
No, I was going to say that Dusty Wheel would continue, but Matt's looking for a new producer now.
It is really daunting when he walks away. There are times where I'm just no. I need you over that seat. It's my my comfort blanket at this point. You know, I'm like, no, this makes me feel good about what we're doing. We're not going to run into any live issues on the show. But yeah, no, the Dusty Wheel is not going anywhere, but Taylor probably will be. So.
Well, real quick before we pivot and talk, I think it's time for a little shameless promotion. So I'm going to do a double feature here. We're going to play a new segment. Normally I play our commercials. I'm going to play a new segment we've been doing in the last couple episodes that is basically sort of like David Letterman's top 10 list. So now this one might offend Mr. Innkeeper. So
oh yeah,
here we go.
Oh dear.
All right. Well, I think it's time. Speaking of all of what I just said, it's time for a top 10 list, right?
Woo!
All right. All right, y'all. Today we are doing the top 10 sexual kinks that exist in the Wheel of Time story.
Oh boy.
Top 10 sexual kinks that exist in the Wheel of Time story. I'll go ahead and kick us off here with number 10, ample bosoms.
Yeah, there are a lot of ample bosoms.
Mm-hmm.
I think Robert Jordan had a type.
There was that.
Number 9, let's meet up in the sweat tent.
Heck yeah.
Number 8, washing the spears.
Ew.
Number 7, turned calf licking.
That's wrong.
Number 6, having sex inside an igloo.
Number 5, punishment from the Mistress of Novices roleplay.
Heck yeah.
Mm,
Number 4, yanking your braid hard.
nice.
Number 3, 50 Shades of Grey with Semirage.
Mm.
Yikes.
Number 2, sword forms are the Wat Kama Sutra.
Number 1, spanking. Lots and lots of spanking.
So
Love
much spanking.
it. Loves it.
And that has been the top 10 sexual kinks that exist in the Wheel of Time story.
I love it.
This is true. 50 Shades of Grey with Semirage, or was it Semirage?
Summer, yeah.
I thought that was going to be 50 Shades of a Grey Man, to be honest.
It's not a bad idea. I don't know where that would go, but does that mean you don't notice them? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So.
So,
Where was Easing the Badger?
Can a gray man ease the badger? I don't know.
That is not a conversation I ever thought I would have with you, Matt.
Yeah.
Although that being said, I say that to you, and then you're the one that had a show on sex in the Wheel of Time, and I was a guest on that show, which apparently I don't know what that means that you think about me, but.
And then we had Twatcast on along with Master of the Deck talking about Trolloc sex. So yeah, that show that was amazing.
Okay, Matt, I don't think I actually know the answer to this question.
Okay.
Which is your favorite book?
I thought you were
Other
going to
than
say sexual
obviously-
kink, but I'm glad you went to book. So appreciate that.
I was like, whoa,
like,
okay. Where are we
from the
going
top
with this?
10.
Can you
From the top
imagine?
10.
Can you imagine if
Which one made you laugh the most in the top 10? Matt?
how
I'm
red would
interested
you
in
have
that
gotten,
one.
Matt? How red would you have gotten?
I wouldn't have, because I'd have been like bosoms, definitely.
Gosh.
No, so books. Sorry, books. We're back to books. Okay.
I don't know. I'm stuck on the top 10 list, and I'm like, which one?
Rob's answered the question 4 times.
And I'm like, where
got
is
it.
the stabby stabs from that? You know.
Repeat your question, Nae'Blis. I'm a little bit lost at this point.
Does it even matter at this point?
I derailed us talking about the top 10 again. Sorry.
Well, here we go. Rant Almore. My kink is Fires of Heaven. Because I did ask you what were your favorite book. What's your favorite book? I wasn't actually sure like what your favorite book in the series was, other than maybe The Gathering Storm because you're in it, or Towers of Midnight because you're in it.
Towers of Midnight is my top 5 typically. Again, yeah, probably because I'm in it. So I would say, man, it's so difficult. It is just so difficult. I mean, again, Shadow Rising is just. It just touches on so many interesting themes and ideas and metaphysics that it's hard to kind of not always declare it's the Shadow Rising. But I read The Great Hunt and I'm like, damn, that's a great book. And then I read The Dragon Reborn, and I'm like, I forgot this is a great book. And then I read Fires of Heaven, and I'm like, shoot, Fire of Heaven is great. But yeah, Shadow Rising. I know it's a cliche at this point, but
it's my favorite book. What about you, Rob?
I'm on. We're gonna make it a trio. Shadow Rising is my favorite, but exactly like Matt said, sometimes you read them and you're like, oh, I forgot how good this one was, or I forgot this was in that book and that's amazing. And like, does it change? And my top 5 is always changing. Every time someone asks me a top 5, I'm like, I don't know, these ones, that one. I was like, I mean, Towers of Midnight is always pretty low. I'm not sure about some of the characters in that book, but
Well, the innkeepers in it are weird, but
yeah,
totally.
Now, all joking aside, I know there are some people that are less of fans. I don't want to say they're not fans, but are a little more critical of Brandon's books. And it's hard for me because I think that in my head, because there's certain characters that, like Matt, as he would even admit, that I don't think he nailed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But at the same token, like, so much happens in those books that I like when I think back to some of my favorite moments, they're in the books that Brandon wrote.
Yep.
And so
agreed.
I find it hard for me to become very critical of it outside of, again, that he didn't get Matt's tone right in the first 2 books he wrote. I actually thought he did a better job with Matt in
Towers of Midnight
and A Memory of Light, actually.
Okay,
yeah. I really like the direction he was trying to take Matt in. I could sense where he was trying to go with Matt, even though he didn't land it properly until the end. But I like the direction it was going in. Matt felt very comfortable in where he was in life. And I was like, that felt like a realistic end to his arc. So I liked where it was going and where it ended, but it was an adjustment period when his first book came out.
I think screenwriters of the show got Matt better than Brandon got Matt in The Gathering Storm.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But that comes down to Brandon also advising them, like, Matt's difficult. How many times has Brandon said?
Yeah, that's the first thing he says every time.
I can imagine the screenwriters and they're like, we've got to take another stab at this. It's just not the right Matt. You know what I mean? Like, that's clearly somebody they wanted to get right in the show. And I think that they, to me, regardless if you like the performance of it, the way that he kind of interacted with his friends and other people just speaks Matt, for someone who's gone through the family life that they've presented to us. And so maybe a bit different than Matt in the books, but I think they got the idea, the sense of Matt, the spirit of Matt.
Do you think, go ahead, Rob, go ahead.
I wanted to hark back to the beginning just a little bit when we were chatting about the premiere, because one of you talk about Matt's like family life and stuff from the show. One of the most hilarious moments from the premiere is when I met Juliet and we watched, it was just after, because she actually sat 2 seats away from me. Afterwards, when we all were getting up, she turned to me instantly. She was like, "So did you expect that?" And she was like gleefully just like, I've kept this giant secret from everybody, and I'm this beautiful, sweet, wonderful lady who cares about chickens, and I'm so nice and kind. And I played a scoundrel and a drunk well, not scoundrel. I played like just a drunken mess on the show, and no one was expecting this. And she was, she's there like, I pulled it off. No one expected it. And it just makes me laugh. Every time someone talks about Matt's situation in the show, I just envision Juliet Helen being like, yeah, I got you.
Juliet's awesome.
She's so wonderful.
And you could have had a longer conversation with her had it not been for me coming over and being like, Matt, let's go.
Exactly.
Well, I almost got on the bus. I'm just going to leave that there.
What was so funny was I did not realize there was a rush to leave that place. And I was like, why are we rushing? Because they got us out of the theater, and like, here are the people that we came to like see and chat with. And we're finally getting to chat with them. And then we go downstairs from that upstairs location. And I was like, there's more people here. So they got us out from the upstairs. And I was like, cool, well, there's more people down here to talk to. And they're like, no, we got to go. And then I remember like every time they would take us, like every time like they would take us to like the next room to leave, there'd be somebody there like, hey, nice to meet you. And I'd stop and talk to them for 3 minutes. And then like, oh man, I wish that was the part I wish that was that we'd had more time for.
I remember walking down the stairs after I grabbed you and I was like, wait a minute, was that Christopher Scare? Was that Matt's dad? Did I just rip you away from him? Like, anyways.
Yeah. No, it was fun. It was a good time.
It was a good time. I was going to go back to the Matt thing real quick too, because Matt Hatch, you did make a serious prediction long before the show came out of something that you did not think was going to happen. That
I did.
everybody was, and it won't happen. We know it for sure. You did not think
yes.
that Barney would blow. Barney was not going to blow, and now Barney will not blow. But
Okay, but I feel like you need to correct the record here. Someone you know, is a dear friend of yours, Rakapa Sadai, Brian, was actually the one that kicked that one over the edge and wanted Barney not to blow. And if you go back and watch it, I was like, actually, I think we should blow the horn. So it was the show prediction at the Dusty Wheel, but I brought it to everyone's question. I played havoc with everyone and brought it to them, but then at the end, I backed off of the idea.
Well, do you think that Barney, or not Barney, but Donald, do you think Matt is going to blow the horn of Valir? Do you think that's going to happen now?
Well, now I don't know. Like even now, because now that we have a different probably trajectory for that character than what's going to occur. So are they changing even that? Like that's one of those questions I think it'd be nice to know from Rafe someday when he will tell us that, which is whatever happens in season 2, was that what was going to happen for Matt in season 2 compared to how we changed trajectories in season 1? I don't know. Like I still believe that I still believe that blowing the horn in a season 2 of a only 7 seasons and bringing down all of the, all the heroes and having them save the day, if you will, is kind of, I don't know. Feels like a bit too much too soon. Kind of like the overpowered thing you talked about, like killing 10,000 Trollocs. It's like, what do you do for an encore for the last battle if like you can kill 10,000 Trollocs with 5 channelers and with one blowing of the horn you can destroy the Shanchan? What's coming next? So it still makes me wonder if they're going to go that route. But I don't know. Rob, do you think that they're going to have them blow the horn?
When they were sort of giving you the exposition about what the horn is in the show, they gave us the whole, it needs to be there at the last battle for the dragon. So perhaps it can be like this thing they chase all the time, but no one ever gets it, or they do eventually get it, but they don't blow it for some reason, and save it for the end as like a last ditch plot. I'm not sure how exactly that would work, but they have set up for it to be, this is needed for the last battle. And if
they didn't even set up the horn, and that's the thing that bothers me. It's like there's a horn.
Ta-da! Oh, yeah, that's true.
And they ran away with it.
And it's under the throne.
I've got a question I'd like to ask about that scene.
Go ahead.
What's with the bat? Marcus runs off. He sees Padden Thane, and then he gets this, a bat disturbs him in the corridor, and then he runs back to Loyal getting stabbed. I have a theory on this, but I'm curious what you two think about it. What is the purpose of dragging him out of the room and then interacting with a bat in the hallway and then running back in the room?
Well, I think there's an obvious. The only other time in the show the bat are there is in a nightmare. So is this a dream sequence? Very possible, which explains why Loyal would be back after being stabbed by a Shadar Logoth dagger. That being said, it also doesn't make a whole lot of sense that Paddan Thane would give exposition and give a mustache twirling villain, let me tell you my plan, in the dream. So, not too sure. Matt?
I don't know. It feels like a really weird, like you distract Perrin in time. It's like if you didn't think Perrin was going to attack anyway, like Paddan Thane gets back and he's like, you weren't going to pick up an axe anyway. Distracting him to make him run away to come back seems kind of like, nothing would have changed. But maybe that's how they wrote the scene, because maybe that wasn't going to be Perrin. You know what I mean? Like, and they just played the scene like they would have. Maybe that was going to be, Matt or something. And again, clearly this bat thing won't go away. It'll be a thing. Bats versus rats.
I love your comment in chat, by the way, Innkeeper.
Yeah.
Paddan Thane is Batman.
That's his special gift, is to bring bats with him.
That's his magic power. He's Batman. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Does he hang the horn off his utility belt?
Exactly.
Well, we are wrapping up our hour. I told everybody that I would play another IL themed commercial, because everybody tends to, you're a stabby guy, right, Rob?
Yeah. IEL is that's one of my things. So we do IEL adverts on my show. So I'm curious to see one of yours. I love this.
Here we go.
I was winning too much in the end with my lucky dice, and now they are accusing me of cheating. I better call Gall.
I just happened to be hanging out with a murderer and someone saw it. Now they're accusing me of being a dark friend. Time to call Gall.
I'm a High Lord of Tyr, and one of the lowly peasants got mad that I murdered his brother for looking me in the eyes. Now the Dragon Reborn wants to cut my head off. I better call Gall.
Hi, I'm Gall. Have you been accused of something and you don't want anyone to think you actually did it? Do you want to get away with it? I believe everyone is innocent until proven guilty, and I can make sure no one is left alive to prove you're guilty. You better call Gall. I will stab the fuck out of your accuser with spears, making sure there is no one left alive to actually find you guilty of a crime. So, if someone has accused you of a crime, or they want to kill you, I will kill them first. You better call Gall.
You have to have really seen Breaking Bad to truly understand where that's coming from. But
I mean, it was good, but I haven't seen Breaking Bad. I'm sure that's a crime to a lot of people.
I mean, you might have to, but I still think it's good without it.
Yeah, I was enjoying it most definitely. So,
well, you better call Gall. So final thoughts from either. Well, I guess I should say this because the whole reason I played that, I am a part of a podcast that Rob is actually a part of as well, sort of.
Kinda, yeah.
Rob is both the intro and the exit, and every now and then in the middle of our podcast. So he introduces us with his silky smooth voice.
I do.
But
and it's like I forget every time I put it on to play, which I haven't for a long time. I've totally stopped listening to podcasts for a couple of months, but every time I hit play, it comes up, I'm like, oh yeah, that's me. I forget every time, and I don't know why.
We have new episodes drop every Tuesday morning, so you will get an episode tomorrow morning. So look for that. But any last words from the two of you before we peace out?
Innkeeper?
I would say, I guess, another podcast.
Yes.
That I do Barside Chats with my friend Brian, and we have Taylor. I know everyone was asking, like, what's Taylor's thoughts of season 1, like, of the show? And so he's breaking down episode 1 and kind of taking his, filmmaker view of, and non-book reader view of what he thought and what he thought worked and what didn't. And is going to kind of give his Taylor rating for each one of the singular episodes as we go through it. And so, the breakdown of episode 1, and he doesn't hold any punches. That's for sure. So that should come out in the next day or two. So
I'm actually really, really excited. That did he ever pick up the books? Because when we were in London, we had this whole conversation on the bus where Taylor was like, wait a minute, that he was asking for spoilers of things that happen later in the series. And he was like, no way, there are Ashramon? What? Like,
I bet you he doesn't even remember that. Like he's not going to remember any of those details, but he was so excited in the moment of like, no way that happens. He did not pick up the books. He, ran the rest of the show for the season and then got married. But there are really funny moments. You need to listen to the episode because Taylor has epiphanies that will make every one of you laugh. It made us laugh of how he believes maybe they could have improved some of the work that they did. So I'll leave it to that.
I'm definitely gonna watch that.
So it's hilarious, but it's Taylor like pontificating for an hour about episode 1 and what worked and what didn't for him. And again, non-book reader, but a fan, obviously running the show and wanting to really love it. And it's a really interesting take, I think. And depending on how people like it or don't, we might have him kind of give his thoughts on each one of the episodes as we go forward. So,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to listening to that. Definitely want to hear what Taylor says.
Matt, real quick, answer that question. Nerdy Guns is asking, where can I listen to Barside
Oh,
Chat?
I think wherever you get your podcasts. I don't know exactly.
I'm sure Brian has said that. Yeah, it is available on Apple Podcasts.
Brian's like,
wherever
yeah, it's on Apple. It's on.
It's on all
what
the
is
major
it?
podcasts.
It's on all
Yeah.
the pod. Yeah, just
Yeah,
go to
search
wherever you
Barside
would get a
Chats.
podcast and search.
Yeah, go look up Barside Chats or Wheel of Time Barside Chats. If you just search for it, you should be able to find it on Spotify. I think on whatever they are. I'm so bad because Brian does it all, so it's like, I never know exactly how to say it. But it's on Anchor, Spotify, Apple.
I've heard the intro plenty of times. He's like, it can be found on Apple, Spotify, and everywhere that you can, all the major podcasting apps. So it's out there. Brian spent a lot of time putting it out there to all the places, all the links. I know he did that. So all the major ones you can find.
What about you, Rob? Where what is?
I feel like I should talk about my podcast now.
Do it.
So I said I do YouTube earlier, but I do a podcast as well, and that's out every Friday. I just eventually, so many recording issues for it, but I just last Friday got out my episode 8 review with my roommate who has read all the books and her cousin who has only read book 1. So we tried to not spoil things further on. And they have a lot of opinions. We spent over 3.5 hours doing episode 7 and 8, and I split them. So episode 8 came out on Friday, just gone. And then this Friday coming, I have sat down with Wise One Shelley, and we have done a whole episode on nationalism. We said a year ago when we did one on pacifism that we should do one on nationalism because she's actually got qualifications in that. And we finally sat down and recorded that. So that's out this Friday. And like Barside Chats and Tarvalon After Dark, it's on all the major podcasting apps. You can find it, folks. So
outstanding. I have one
and if you can't, just go to my website and you'll find it on there. So.
I have one final question before we go. Matt, did you get a chance to listen? Do you know what I'm saying when I talk about the White Cloak comment bot?
No.
All right, we have another commercial to play. Because I think that your viewers, including my viewers, but your viewers especially, need this. So this could be something that could be out there for everybody.
Are you someone who hates the Wheel of Time TV show with every part of your being? Do you spend all of your waking moments thinking about how you can get vengeance on those that made a TV show you didn't like? If so, you know how much trouble it can be to constantly be seeking out all of the places people talk about the Wheel of Time TV show on the internet and make shitty comments. You have to spend so much time looking for places to spew your shitty comments that you can't actually think about how god-awful and terrible the show was. What a drag. Introducing the White Cloak Comment Bot. The White Cloak Comment Bot uses a patented algorithm to find and comment automatically in every place on the internet at once, even the places no one fucking asked you. Here's how it works. The bot will create a procedurally generated comment that has randomized answers, so every comment you make will be the same, but different. For example, the bot will start each comment with a randomized number of the word woke. Then it will select a random number between 10 and 76 years that you have been reading the books to establish your credibility, followed by a randomized word choice on why you think the show is woke. Choices are cast is too dark, gay agenda, men bad, women good, and of course, liberal commie bullshit. Lastly, it will choose a random person associated with the production that you can blame for shitting all over Robert Jordan's legacy. The bot will also automatically detect if the content creator that posted something said even one positive thing about the show, and will make sure to let them know they are a sellout shill. Check out these examples.
Woke.
As a book fan who's been reading the books for
44
years, this piece of shit is just another example of the
gay agenda
gone rampant. I blame
Harriet
for shitting all over Robert Jordan's legacy. He is rolling around in his grave.
When did you sell out, you fucking shill? Enjoy the gravy train while it lasts. Woke. woke, woke, woke.
As a book fan who's been reading the books for
59.
years, this piece of shit show is just another example of
Liberal commie bullshit.
gone rampant. I blame
Hillary Clinton.
for shitting all over Robert Jordan's legacy. He is rolling around in his grave.
The White Cloak comment bot. Because who has time to be an absolute horrible person without help from technology?
Gosh.
Wow.
Why do you
Jess
even
was
have, why do you even have a
brilliant.
show? Just play that every. Oh my gosh.
Jess, the deadpan bot voice from Jess. Is
She's amazing
brilliant.
at it.
That was
She's
so
amazing.
Honestly, I feel like if you kept doing the ad libs there of like filling in the blanks, I would have listened to that for another 10 minutes, just laughing out loud. Like
Well-
it would have stopped. I've only stopped because you stopped.
The thing is, Matt, you've actually heard all of the different variations of that if you read your comments. The funny
Oh,
thing
man.
is, what
And that's
makes
where
that so
Nae'Blis got
funny,
them from, you know.
I could give you examples of like, that's the exact comment that I get. It's always, I've been reading the books for 40 years, and I can't
Yeah.
believe that Robert Jordan is rolling over in his grave. It's like, oh my.
Oh man, but okay, you say that, but and I know we're ending the show, but on on this, I did read like some comments from fans about Lord of the Rings, and all I gotta say is people are just terrible.
Oh.
Like, or those are just bots. I don't know what they are, but like I can't even imagine, like, just with Wheel of Time, what we've already kind of gone through with that crap. This is the absurdity, the level of absurdity, which is like when we were doing the discussing like the casting and such. In comments, people would be like, yeah, the people in Malkier are like this. And I would like look in Robert Jordan's notes and be like, that dude's wrong. But I don't have enough time in the freaking day to like tell everybody you're wrong. You know what I mean? Like it's just
bot, you know.
yeah. Well, it's just like, yeah, Robert Jordan's notes bots like you're
But yeah,
wrong.
it wouldn't even matter, Matt. You could literally show them where Robert Jordan wrote that Malkier people are green skinned, right? He could have written that.
No, I know. It's
And
just
they would just no. Robert
It's just-
Jordan's rolling around in his grave because of his own notes.
the bigotry is just, and for people that are experiencing it, right? Like it's a reality of their lives. It's not just even something that's just like, this is crazy. So yeah, but you play something like that and you're right. Like that is something that I've experienced from fans, and it's just rampant and it's sad and it's, oh well, I don't know what to do for Wheel of Time fans that just, yeah. Maybe I'm just trying to play this every time I just want to, yeah, an audio file would be amazing. And on Facebook,
It's
just drop
up
this audio
on-
file.
So the commercials, I'm going to put all of them right now. This is the only one that is up on the Tarval and After Dark YouTube channel. So I will put the rest of them up, but you can actually get that one on the Tarval and After Dark YouTube channel if you want to share
Yeah.
it. So
No, it'd be awesome if you just actually made a YouTube link of that too, or something that could just easily be dropped into a Facebook comment every time, basically every time somebody made a comment like that, just reply with that.
Yep.
It would definitely be your most played video ever.
Seriously, that would be the most shareable clip I've ever.
You'd get a report from YouTube. You'd be like, this video was shared 2,649 times in the last minute.
If you go to my episode 8 review video, oh my gosh. I knew it too, because they gave me a screener for that one. Like, so I watched that one like 3 days early because I was going to be on the live watch party.
Yeah.
So I had already seen it. They wanted us to have seen it before we started commenting about it live. And I watched it and I was like, oh, this is going to be divisive. Like,
I did the same thing.
I was like, yeah, people are going to be upset.
Yeah. I watched it and I just went, oh, that's good. I got to watch that a couple more times before I can even comment on that. I was like you. I was like, I'm so glad I saw this early. Like, if I'd watched it that night and then 2 hours later been on the watch party, I'd have been like, I'm not sure I've processed what happened yet. You know.
Well, guys, I have kept these guys over. Thank you for being on, both of you. Thank you, Rob. Make sure everybody check out, if you're European or if you're an American that wants to travel to Europe, check out Malkiericon. The first European Wheel of Time convention, which is awesome.
Details on the website.
Yes, and that website is
Malkiertalks.com.
There it
Very
is.
easy.
Okay.
I mean, it's got all my stuff on there, but there's a section for Malkiericon.
Which is awesome. I'm excited for that. Check out the Dusty Wheel on Wednesday. What's going on Wednesday, Matt?
So right now it's looking like I'm going to try to get Lauren and John on, and we're going to be talking about the next Wheel of Time song parody contest.
I cannot wait.
So I think we want to kind of officially announce and then answer questions and kind of just get people hyped up, play some of like the greatest hits from last year, just remind ourselves the fun it was, and just kind of encourage everyone to get involved in it. We want to get more submissions this year. I mean, even if we had the same number of submissions, it would be just as amazing. Like I can't remember exactly how many we had last year, but I think it was like between 40 and 50, and they were just, it was impossible. If everyone, if you watch the Wheel of Time song parody contest, you know the top 32 were impossible to choose between, and
they were awesome.
We're hoping it's like that this year. So yeah, Wednesday, that's where we're headed. We may make a different choice there, but yeah, please stop in and support that, and come get hyped about the Wheel of Time song parody contest with us.
I'm hyped already. I am too. I'm looking forward to making my entry. So
I am not, but I'll be looking forward to watching it. So everybody, just so you know, after this, we typically hop in my Discord server and have a little chat. If you want to join us, you're welcome to. Even if you're not a Discord person, just click the link in the description of the video, and it will like automatically download it for you. Come hang out with us.
I'm gonna skip that. It's my 29th anniversary of my first date with my wife, so I'm gonna go out for like a little quick anniversary date this evening. But
tell her, tell Innkeeper's wife hi, and awesome congratulations, Matt. But and Matt, Rob, you have
everybody
to go
else should go. Yeah, everybody else should go to Discord.
I don't have to go to bed. Like, I'm a grown man. I'll do what I want.
Hold up. Rob, you're no longer British, because you know what you went and got? I thought about this a little bit.
What did I get?
Before we started here, now keep in mind, it's almost 3 a.m. for Rob.
It's gone 3 a.m.
And he's like, right before we went live, he was like, hey, hold on a minute. I have to run and go make myself a coffee. You are English. Where is that?
2 in the morning.
Where is that black tea? Where is that black tea?
I have an entire cupboard that is full of loose leaf teas of various types. I have.
So do I, actually.
Oh, okay, yeah. But trust me, there's a lot of tea going on back there.
I bought a bunch of tea when I was in England.
I wanted to be awake for the show. Yeah. Tea is a thing. So.
All right, I keep putting this off.
Go to Discord.
Yes. Bye, everybody. Thank you for joining. And until next time, smash to black, right, Matt?
Smash to black.